Hi class, in this video we're going to plan for creating the final project. Looking at our requirements here, we're going to have an application that has a list box, and the list box is going to contain information about catches, fish that have been caught. So it's going to be kind of a list of the catch of the day, who's caught the biggest fish. We're going to have a menu control, and we're going to have a toolbar. And yes, items will be duplicated. Items that appear on the menu may also appear on the toolbar, just like any other Windows applications. We will have a detail area or a properties area in one part of the form where we can allow users to type in new information to add to the list or update information that's showing in the list. In our list, we'll have all of this information about each detail catch. If somebody clicks on one of the items, that item's information will show in this details or properties area, allowing for update. We have a list here of the menu options that are to be provided and a little bit of a reminder about the functionality. We see that you are required to have a separate catch class and some information about that class. So in order to get organized, it's always good to start making a list. But what's the best way for us to make a list when we're programmers? Well, that would be a UML document. And of course, I have Visio installed because I can download Visio from Microsoft Imagine, just like I can download so many other wonderful Microsoft products for free. So I have done that. Now, if you've not downloaded Visio, that's okay. You can use any other diagramming tool that you like that's available on the internet, or just even make some notes on a piece of paper here. What I'm looking at here is in the software category, and I want this UML class template. I'm going to go ahead and create, I guess, with this pretty pink. And then I'm going to have a default UML diagram here. I'm going to delete this information at the bottom, helpful stuff, and I'm going to start with class 1. I'm going to split my screen here. So that we can see some things. Try to get mouse over lines here on my piece of paper with my arrow key. Alright, so using my UML here, I think the first class that I want to start on is going to be my form. So I'm just going to name that form for now. We could get really fancy. Should we? Yes, let's do it right from the beginning so we don't have to change it. This will be FRN, catch, maybe list. Look at me think. You know, sometimes it's hard to think of the perfect name. Now, here we're supposed to list the attributes that are part of the class. These would be class variables. For our form, we don't really need to list all of these items that are here on the form. What we need to list are things that are going to be global or class level variables to our form. And we can think of a few right off, right? So the first one would be probably file name. It would be a string, of course, because we're going to need to keep track of what file was opened and what file name we should use if they click on save. So that should be something that is probably a class level field. Having no others, I'm going to delete these other attributes. Now, what about methods? In our form, we're going to need, first of all, a method for each of these different items that we have available. So looking at this list down here looks like a good place. We're going to have a file open. See if I can fix this, and it's going to be public, so I'll put the plus sign there. Now our file open will be called by the file open menu and the open toolbar. We're also going to have a file save operation. And then a file save as. And again, each of these methods will be called from multiple places. Now I'll add a couple more. And the first one that I want is going to be our OK button. So I'll call that BTN OK underscore click. And that is going to be over here on this side when we click OK. Now in this diagram, there is also a plus and an X here for the delete. Don't worry about those yet. We still need to add more options. Now I want to continue on with our menus. So now we need to add a, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. How did I get that last one to add? So easy, huh? This one is going to be another plus. Oh, I got a couple here. Me and Visio. Now I need to have a add new to add a new item to our list. We need to have a update to update an item that's already in our list. And what else? Let me move this. We're going to move this orange thing down. And after our add new, we also need a delete. We're going to need a help about. My form is getting a little messed up here. So perfect. Looks a little weird, I know. There we go. Now it's pretty happy. So we'll have all of these different methods. And that doesn't seem like too many, right? So we're going to be maybe having some others or using those in multiple places so that we can make everything very nice and reusable. Now, I do not have a relationship with my form to any other class, so I'm going to delete this relationship line. And there's my form class, pretty well planned out. Little things that I need to do there that I might have to update. Now, the second thing that I want to document class-wise is going to be our catch class. So in our catch class, we're going to have some class fields. What are these going to be? They're going to be private, so we'll start with the minus sign. And we're going to have the name. We're going to have the type of fish. The name will also be a string. Best if you type it when you're there, huh? Next, we're going to have a weight in pounds, which is going to be an integer. Now I'm going to add an item. This one will be weight in ounces, and it'll be an integer. And one last item. So our caught at our location, that would be a string. Now what I'd like to be able to do is copy all of these. Let's see if I can control click and select them all. copy, and then I would like to paste them after. Oh, what a mess, huh? That didn't work. Okay, I'll just do it again. Now I'm going to go ahead and insert another member. I want another one of these little bars here. Now this one is going to be our public property. So again, we'll have one for each of our private class fields. Do this real quick. One, two, three, four, five. One, two, three, four. One more. And I'll get that done. Now, you can be thinking about that too. We're going to have a public property available for every one of these private fields, right? That's just how we do it in C#. Now, in our catch class, we are going to have some methods. First of all, we're going to have the constructor. So we're going to have a constructor. It's going to be named catch, right? And what kind of things is it going to need to be passed to it? Well, you could have a constructor that has no arguments, and then you could have another constructor that requires some different things, right? Is overloaded. This one could maybe need a string and a string, however you want to do it. That's going to depend on your code as to how you set up your constructors. Now, after our constructors, we're also going to need to create some additional methods. We need to override the toString, and that'll return the string. As we get into our code, we may decide there's some additional methods and things that we need, but that gets us to thinking about it pretty well. So let me delete some of this extra stuff out of our UML diagram. We can see that we've pretty well simplified things. We know that in our form, we're going to have several methods that do different actions for us. And in our catch class, we're going to have our private class fields and our public properties with our getters and setters. But we're not going to have, it looks like, a whole lot of methods, because we are just going to have our constructors and then our override of the toString. So that looks good. Let's get started thinking about coding our program.